All right, everybody. I think we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Becker Digital's webinar series. This month's topic focuses on developing social media strategy for nonprofit organizations. This topic aligns with one of the most frequently asked questions we hear, and that is, how can my organization create a social media strategy that doesn't turn obsolete within a few weeks? Today, we're going to dive into the world of digital strategy and how it affects the nonprofit sector. But first, a few introductions. I'm Jeremy Becker, CEO of Becker Digital, and I'm going to get us started today by introducing our speaker and telling you a little bit about our company. Becker Digital has had the privilege to work alongside numerous mission-driven organizations in government and nonprofit space. We are a veteran-owned small business headquartered in Pensacola, Florida. If you follow us on social media, you've probably seen pictures of Northwest Florida's exquisite Emerald Coast, and yes, it really is that pretty in real life. Becker Digital is a full-service marketing and PR agency that has extensive experience in multiple industries, including agriculture, education, government, healthcare, military veteran, and nonprofits. We are comprised of a very talented team of military community members that work very hard to help our clients turn their communication goals into reality. Our client work focuses on the following areas: advertising, communications, marketing strategy, public relations, social media, web design. If you'd like more information on Becker Digital or want to discuss working together, send us an email or give us a call. That's all of the sales pitch you're going to get today, so with no further ado, let's introduce our presenter. Today's webinar will be presented by our creative director, Hannah Becker. Hannah is a very skilled and experienced marketing professional that has worked on numerous campaigns for national organizations. She has a bachelor's degree from Mississippi State University, a graduate certificate in nonprofit leadership, and a master's degree in business administration from Florida Institute of Technology. She previously taught business, computer science, and economics at numerous Midwestern universities and now shares her expertise with Becker Digital clients. Hannah has served on multiple boards and councils, including the Kansas Department of Agriculture, Olathe Health, and the Military Family Advisory Network Board in Washington, D.C. If you have any questions regarding the digital world, Hannah is an amazing resource. And with that, I'll turn the webinar over to her.
Thank you, Jeremy. Greetings, everyone. I'm excited to talk social media with y'all today. As Jeremy mentioned, one of the most frequently asked questions that we receive at Becker Digital is how nonprofit organizations can develop an evergreen social media strategy. This can be particularly challenging for nonprofits who are often operating with very limited resources in a highly saturated space. It can be hard to stand out and connect with your support base. A nonprofit can only publish so many Donate Today posts before their social media channels start losing traction. My goal today is to provide you with a few key social media elements to help your organization connect with its community without blowing the marketing budget. Topics we'll be covering in this webinar include an overview of the top social trends for organizations, developing an organization-specific social media strategy, engaging your organization's online community, avoiding common pitfalls in the digital space, and implementing a future-focused social media strategy. Before tackling the how-to of social media strategy, I want to breeze through why social media matters to nonprofit organizations. Historically, and by historically, I mean 5 to 10 years ago, abstaining from social media was regarded as a somewhat acceptable practice for established organizations. Early social media apps were predominantly focused on the millennial generation, and many thought that social networking apps like Facebook and Twitter would remain a teenage fad. The past few years have proven that premise to be very untrue, as modern organizational growth is readily observed as going hand in hand with social media presence and engagement. Many organizations learn the hard way that just because your organization isn't posting online doesn't mean others aren't posting things online about your organization. Thanks to the tech boom, the lines between the world and our physical communities have become quite blurred, and organizations, including nonprofits, are expected to connect with their communities digitally. That's something that's often easier said than done, hence this webinar. The cool thing about developing an effective social media strategy for your organization is that you can position your organization for growth while expanding outreach efforts in a cost-effective manner, which is a win-win for everybody involved. Social media usage has quickly replaced traditional communication methods and leisure time. People are spending so much of their time on social media. When we say people are spending a lot of time on social media, let's look more into what that means. A recent report showed that American social media users are spending an average of 16 minutes every waking hour on social media, which collectively will be over 5 years of their life scrolling social media feeds. That is so much time spent on social media. 5 years of your life. That statistic makes me cringe. Social media is not going away. It just keeps getting more and more popular. By the year 2021, more than 3 billion people are expected to be active on social media, which is almost half the worldwide population. So it's not just the United States that's obsessed with social media. Many countries all over the world are rapidly incorporating social networking apps into their daily lives. Bottom line, people are on social media a lot. And if your organization isn't visible online, it can seem like it doesn't even exist. That's why it's so important for nonprofits to have an efficient way to manage multiple social media channels, grow their following, and really activate their online community to support their initiatives. Printed flyers and direct mailers just don't cut it anymore. Connections are happening online. Social media is everywhere, and you can't just be on one social media channel. You need to be on multiple ones. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, YouTube, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and dozens of other social media apps are actively engaging our tech-saturated population. Forward-thinking organizations are quick to adopt multi-channel social media strategy to maximize their efforts. While internationally, other social media apps claim majority market share, in the Western world, Facebook dominates the social space. They currently have over 2 billion monthly active users. That's MAU. YouTube and Instagram aren't far on Facebook's heels with 1.9 billion and 1 billion MAUs. Snapchat, TikTok, and WhatsApp are rapidly building up their Gen Z user base and will most likely be serious contenders for social media market share and how it relates to nonprofit organizations within the next 5 years. In 2019, 69% of the U.S. adult population was active on social media. That's almost 3/4 of the entire population, and that spans all generations, all users over the age of 18. This next stat may not come as a surprise to you. Nearly 90% of U.S. millennials and 96% of Gen Zers report using social media on a regular basis. Most organizations are aware that millennials and Gen Zers are really active on social media. They just don't know how to connect with them. Recent studies have revealed that millennials and Gen Zers are virtually immune to traditional advertisements. The majority even use ad blocking software. So up with a millennial and Gen Z friendly social media strategy is a little more complicated than just running Facebook ads, but more on that later. The takeaway here is that the vast majority of our world is active on social media and its popularity is only increasing. Social media is here to stay. So social media platform popularity changes with consumer trends and demographic shifts. Some apps are preferred by millennials while others remain favorites of baby boomers. Understanding who's where can really help you develop a social media strategy that works. So while historically Facebook was the preferred social media app for the under 30 crowd, Gen Zers are rapidly ditching Facebook for social media platforms offering more disappearing content and video features like Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube. Any guesses on what is currently the fastest growing segment of Facebook users? It's actually senior citizens over 65 years of age. Isn't that crazy? And it's not just Facebook that senior citizens are flocking to. In 2018, more than half of Americans over the age of 75 had watched a video on YouTube. So social media is not just for teenagers anymore. It's for everybody, which means it should be for every organization. Developing a strategic presence on social media is no longer optional. It's necessary for your organization's future. Prioritizing the development of an effective social media strategy should be the cornerstone of every organization's communications and outreach efforts. For many nonprofits, what worked 10, 20 years ago won't work today, and that's okay if they can adapt to the era of social media. As the social media staff, today's consumers are active on social media, and tomorrow's will be as well, at an even higher concentration. Integrating an effective social media strategy into your organization's long-term plan can help ensure its relevance for generations to come. Social media provides organizations with a variety of tools to advance, broadcast their message, and connect with potential clients, customers, supporters, and volunteers. So what constitutes an effective social media strategy? An effective social media strategy consists of multiple key elements. We're going to talk about 8 of them today that foster community engagement. While digital communications isn't a one-size-fits-all scenario, there are several essentials that drive results for socially savvy brands. It's important for organizations developing a social media strategy to recognize the unique mission within their organization and acknowledge the need for customizing their digital approach to this mission. If anyone tells you there is a one-size-fits-all approach to social media, run. They are just trying to get you to buy into their latest gimmick. An effective social media strategy is customized to the organization and its target audience. It's also revised on a regular basis to accommodate for algorithm changes, user preferences, and the like, but I'm getting ahead of myself. More on that in a few minutes. Today, we're going to talk about 8 key elements of an effective social media strategy for nonprofits with the goal of providing you with actionable tools that you can readily integrate into your organization's online channels. You don't have to have a lot of money to put behind this for it to work. It's not an overnight fix, but it's actionable, effective tools that can help your organization improve community awareness and develop a quality brand that's reflective of its mission. Just to give an overview of what we'll be discussing, here's a quick summary of the 8 elements. The first element to an effective social media strategy is that social media strategy is aligned with organizational goals. Developmental goals and digital strategy are fully integrated. They're not separate. An effective strategy is implemented close to leadership, not as an isolated task by the summer intern. I think it's really tempting to just assign a task to one department or one person and then execute the strategy in a silo. That's not a good way to move forward in the digital space, as it's not reflective of a functional organization. All users will be getting is one person's take on the mission, and that's very limited. The second element is that digital content is organized within an editorial calendar. So effective social media is not posted on whims, it's strategized. It's cool to post in the moment on your personal social media feed, but an organization's social media should be, for the most part, planned out as it helps things stay in line with organizational goals. The third element is that social media strategy is developed with the organization's target audience in mind. Online content must resonate with the target audience. Just posting what you like or what you think is funny won't cut it when it comes to managing a nonprofit social media. If you take nothing else away from this webinar, remember this. Social media is all about the user. not about the brand or the organization. Engaging social media, or fourth element, is that engaging social media content encourages conversation and user action. So what if 10,000 people see your funny meme, but no one responds or supports the organization? How has that content advanced organizational goals? It hasn't. Action-inducing engagement is key. Our fifth element is that all social media content provides value to the social media user. An effective strategy makes the user's life better. It's a lot more involved than just posting an event link. It has to offer value that goes beyond mere information broadcasting. Good social media content inspires, educates, and connects. Our sixth element is that an effective strategy incorporates social media metrics. This involves data analytics, and in its most watered-down version, just means measuring the response and making adjustments accordingly. Monitoring social media analytics help us assess what's working and what's not. It can be the difference between shooting in the dark versus firing at a target with optimal indoor lighting. Our seventh element is that digital content is focused on building long-term relationships. This is one of social media's most underutilized capabilities, building relationships that go beyond just one post. The goal of an effective social media strategy isn't to just accumulate a bunch of likes. We want to establish and cultivate meaningful relationships through our organization's social media presence. That's where the real benefit is, the one that pays in dividends. And the last element is that social media performance measures are routinely assessed. As we previously mentioned, what worked for us last year may not work for us this year or the next year. The tech world is always changing. Organizations need to be responsive in the implementation of their social media strategy. This includes having a plan for regular, routine performance assessment. So without further ado, let's jump in. So aligning your social media with organizational goals. Reaching 1 million followers on Instagram may do something for your marketing manager's ego. However, focusing on explosive follower growth that lies outside your organization's target audience may not be very aligned with the organizational goals. Developing an effective strategy that contributes to your organization's future involves assessing your organization's goals and customizing the approach accordingly. If your organization needs to increase membership, reaching out to 100 prospective members on LinkedIn may be worth way more than accumulating 1,000 new Twitter followers that reside in a country where your organization doesn't even operate in. Millions of media followers that are not reflective of your organization's target audience are vanity metrics and should not be confused with attainable goals that align with your organization's mission. The first step to developing an effective social media strategy is to identify your organization's short and long-term goals. Sometimes these goals will have what seems like absolutely nothing to do with social media. Maybe the goal is to raise money through a capital campaign or recruit 20 new volunteers. Social media, when done right, can help your organization reach these development goals. As we progress through the webinar, I encourage you to start thinking of social media and organization's operations as closely intertwined. All organizational communications, digital and physical, should align with the mission. They're not separate, they're integrated. But more on that in a few slides. Our second element is that digital content is organized within an editorial calendar. An effective media strategy doesn't just happen. It's organized and well executed. Socially savvy organizations will incorporate a planned social strategy that includes everything from carefully curated content to optimal posting times to a comment moderation plan. Real-time responses are important. Impromptu selfies have their place. However, utilizing an editorial calendar can help organizations streamline their social media management and select content that's relevant and sensitive to the current social climate. Always posting things in the moment can open your organization up to a PR crisis should a whimsical caption be deemed off color in light of a recent current event or tragedy or even a holiday observance. The editorial calendar doesn't have to be set in stone. It's just guidance. It includes the content that can be posted in this date range. It has things like hashtags and links along with any special days or events that the marketing team should be aware of. So what should your organization's social media content include? There are two leading schools of thought regarding content on social media: the rule of thirds and the 80-20 rule. The rule of thirds suggests that 1/3 of your social content promotes the organization and drives traffic to the organization's website. 1/3 shares quality information from thought leaders in your space, industry, and community. And 1/3 sparks conversation and drives brand interaction with followers. The 80-20 rule suggests that 80% of your social media content informs or inspires the followers, and then 20%, so a fifth, of your social media content is reserved for organizations' brands, their services, their programs, their fundraising campaign. These rules aren't hard and fast, but they do provide you with posting. The main thing: do not post promotional things about the organization 100% of the time. There needs to be a balance between look at me posts about the organization and content that connects with the user's life. All social media content should work to elevate the brand, connect the community, and inspire positive engagement. If it doesn't serve those purposes, it doesn't belong on your feed. Our third social media element is that social media strategy is developed with the organization's target audience in mind. Social media user demographics differ from platform to platform, and these audience specifics should be considered when you're deciding which channels you want to prioritize for your nonprofit. We already discussed how the fastest growing age demographic on Facebook is the 65+ crowd, and that Instagram and Snapchat are particularly popular among millennials and Gen Zers. Here's a few additional user demographics from Pew Research. So Pinterest is more popular with women than it is with men. LinkedIn is a favorite among college graduates and high-income households. WhatsApp, it's a messaging app that's currently owned by Facebook, is especially popular with Latinos in the United States and less popular with African Americans and Caucasians. So this is just a snippet of demographic research for social media apps. But when you're thinking about which channels we should be on, I would really, really encourage you to look at user demographics and make sure that that aligns with your target audience. There's no point in posting content to a social media platform that your organization's target market isn't even on. Before you identify which social media apps you want to put your organization on, take some time, research the demographics. Beyond generation-specific social media trends, audiences can be further segmented into more well-defined target audiences through the development of organizational buyer and/or donor personas. Incorporating this type of market research information into your social media strategy can really help improve the effectiveness of your online efforts. Our fourth element for an effective social media strategy is that it encourages conversation and user action. The execution of a successful social media strategy is very much a two-way conversation, not a steady stream of one-sided promotional posts. Annual fundraising drives, company updates, and service improvements are all good things that can be included in an organization's social media strategy. However, it's important to recognize this endless organization-focused content broadcasting isn't very engaging, and when implemented in excess, it can limit the organization's online reach. People will stop following you. They will stop engaging with your social media. You'll find yourself just posting into an empty echo chamber of digital nothingness. An engaging social media strategy is just like a tennis match, with the conversation, kind of like the ball, going back and forth between the brand and the user. Examples of engaging social media content include asking social media followers questions, encouraging follower participation, soliciting feedback, and facilitating interactive opportunities like contests, surveys, and user-generated campaign content. Remember, social media posts should prompt a conversation that goes back and forth, along with some action like donating, volunteering, or sharing the organization's information with a friend. Engagement is something that we'll talk a little more in detail when we get to social media analytics, but things like comments, likes, and shares Giving the users opportunity to engage with your content cultivates and it can improve the brand's social channel ranking. So our fifth element is that all social media content provides value to the social media user. Today's social media users are compulsively scrolling through worthless content in search of something that adds value to their lives. While value add-ons can be very much individualized, content that educates, entertains, and inspires is typically a good starting point for an organization's social media feed. Here's a few examples of value-driven social media content. Things like a video that demonstrates a valuable time-saving tip that can readily be implemented in the followers' lives. Educational content that provides in-depth insights into the history behind a recognized holiday, notable influencers, or tips for commemorating. Or a PSA-inspired post that encourages followers to improve their community through some sort of action. Maybe it's volunteer for a park cleanup or improve their wellness routine. Just because your organization wants to broadcast information about an upcoming event or fundraising drive doesn't mean your followers will immediately deem this content as valuable to them. That's where we have to get creative. When you're creating content for social media posting, ask yourself, does this provide value to the user? If the answer is no, revamp the content into something that's more user-focused. You can still post organizational information. You just need to come up with a way to communicate such information in a way that also engages the user and relates to their life. Our sixth element is that an effective social media strategy incorporates social media metrics. Evaluating a strategy's effectiveness is essential for future planning and performance. Social media metrics, many of which were available for free in social media apps, provide organizational leaders with insight into what types of content results in the desired response. All social media metrics are not equal. Some metrics, like the number of followers, may sound really cool, but if it's not supported by engagement, they do very little for the organization's bottom line. Marketers call these smoke and mirrors analytics vanity metrics. If you've ever heard of people buying likes or followers, that's an example of investing in vanity metrics, something that has very little long-term value. And it can even hurt your organization's social media ranking in the app's algorithm. If you follow social media news, you may have heard that Instagram will be phasing out the like count for public viewing on Instagram posts. Such changes will really require brands to focus more on valuable metrics instead of vanity metrics, because things like likes can simply be purchased to artificially inflate a post engagement data. The new Instagram doing away with that feature will hopefully dampen down the effects of vanity metrics, at least on that platform. Valuable social media metrics are ones that contribute to the organization's goals. Examples of valuable social media metrics include things that measure conversion, engagement, and reputation. Knowing how to evaluate and utilize generated social media metrics can help brands position their digital presence for sustainable growth. A few social media metrics to keep an eye on as potential performance markers include clicks, engagement, and reach. We'll talk through each one. So clicks. Tracking the number of clicks organizational content receives through social media provides insight on how well the digital content prompts users to take action. Are they just mindlessly scrolling? Or are you inspiring them to do something with their time or invest in the organization? Engagement. So dividing a post's total recorded engagements, you have that in the insights of social media app, by the reach, can offer organizational leaders more information on whether or not their social media content is resonating. Depending on the social media platform, engagement can consist of a variety of actions. It can be things like likes, shares, retweets, comments, and clicks. If a post reached 2,000 people but only generated 2 likes and 1 click, you're not getting much engagement. Reach is defined as how many social media users saw the content. It informs on organic potential and offers valuable data that can be used alongside other metrics for additional insight into strategy performance. Reviewing social media metrics isn't something that should just be reserved for the end of the year board meetings. Instead, social media metrics should be collected and analyzed on a regular and frequent basis, monthly, weekly, quarterly. Figure out something that works for your organization. Routine metric evaluation can help organizational leaders make informed decisions and improve the performance of future digital content through data-supported strategy revision. Our seventh element is that meaningful digital content is focused on building long-term relationships. Building relationships with online users is one of social media's most beneficial and underutilized features. While raking in thousands of followers may be great, converting followers into supporters and hopefully brand evangelists should be the driving objective behind any successful social media strategy. A passionate organization supporter can amplify the nonprofit's message through social media means like sharing content, which can be valuable to organizations in the long run. If you're on Facebook, you may have noticed that Facebook pages started offering these top fan badges to showcase a page's most engaged followers. These are the nonprofit's potential brand evangelists. They love the organization, share it with other people in their community. Sometimes nonprofits connect with these supporters in person and they learn about the organization and share it on social media. While other times the nonprofits may actually make the initial contact with a supporter via social media and can use social media to foster and build a relationship with contact and turn them into a brand evangelist. Today's consumers expect organizations to be accessible via online channels. Millennials and Gen Zers, they want to connect with organizations that they patronize on social media, receive support through electronic options, and cultivate relationships with organizations online. An effective social media strategy is much more than funny gifts and link shares. It's relationship focused in a way that prioritizes meaningful connections, fosters community, and results in brand loyalty that has the potential to span generations. Social come and go, but genuine relationships stand the test of time and they can blossom on social media. So our last element is that social media performance measures should be routinely assessed. Social media is always changing. Algorithms are updated, consumer behavior evolves, trends emerge, all altering the social media ecosystem that one's social media strategy is built on. Evaluating social media performance on a routine basis can help ensure campaign relevance. Just because something worked a year ago and it received a good response doesn't mean the same content will work today. A few actionable suggestions for social media performance evaluation. Compile a list of organizational goals, both short-term and long-term, to assist with the strategy development. Review industry standards and expectations for engagement and return on investment results, and compare your organization's digital performance to those published benchmarks. Develop informed, customized social media criteria that can help assess the organization's social media performance over time. Evaluate which social media posts did well and which ones did not. Adjust the organization's editorial calendar accordingly. An editorial calendar, which we talked about earlier in the webinar, for your organization can really help with this step. This is something that involves all organizational stakeholders, the board, employees, volunteers, and even focus groups, to ensure that the nonprofit social media strategy is on track to connect with its intended community. Stop thinking of social media as something that just occurs in one department. It has the potential to be an organization-wide endeavor that can do more for nonprofits than just prompt the occasional new client or a $25 donation. An effective social media strategy can position nonprofits for new growth. So how does your organization's current social media strategy stack up? We've got a social media checklist that can help you assess your organization's current strategy and fine-tune its outreach. It's over on our website. The checklist is part of an ebook, and it includes all 8 elements of the effective social media strategy that we discuss, plus a lot more detail on how to implement them into your nonprofit. You can download this on our website. Just go to becker.digital.com. It's under the resources tab. The web address is here up in the left-hand corner of the screen. It's free, so you can just go online in your email and pass that around to your organization's board and team. Every organization needs an effective social media strategy. Social media can be very complicated and very time-consuming. So it's really, really important that your efforts online are effective and that you're not resources just posting without a strategy behind it. Social media is a super powerful media platform. It drives culture and it changes industries. Every organization, from academic institutions to waste management services, need an effective social media strategy. Today's consumers are actively searching for brands online, and they're publishing user-generated content about organizations, including nonprofits, on social media. Ensuring your organization is well represented in the digital space is essential for continued success. So Becker Digital is available to help support your organization's social media needs. You can reach out to us online to schedule a discovery call and learn more about our digital, how digital strategy enhance your nonprofit. And I think that's a wrap. I appreciate your attention today during the webinar, and I'm going to hand it back over to Jeremy.
Well, thank you, Hannah, for providing us with such a detailed overview. Thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in today. As Hannah mentioned, there are numerous resources like the ebook and checklist available for free over on our website. Just head over there and download what you might need. Becker Digital also has a team of experienced professionals that can help position your organization to engage the future. If you're interested in scheduling a discovery call, please contact us. We are also hosting educational webinars just like this one on a monthly basis. Our next two upcoming webinar topics are marketing and marketing to Gen Z. You can sign up on our website under the resources tab. We'd love to have you join us. Again, appreciate Hannah's willingness to share her expertise and want to thank you all for being such a supportive audience. We would love to connect with you and learn more about your organizational goals. Drop us a line or send us an email if you have any questions. Have a great day.